Okay, let's get right into things. This is a very special Self-Publishing with Dale series. We're starting to fire this off, so I'm beyond excited to break ground in a very new avenue, and that's to say self-publishing and live streaming. It seems like an unlikely duo, and I know that working with the fine folks over at Restream, we were really trying to provide the best series that we could possible for you. So that way you had some tremendous value and you can walk away with this with more information than you came with. There's a lot that self-publishing and live streaming share in common, more so than you would probably know. You could literally kill two birds with one stone. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that it's going to be easy, but I think that if you've got somewhat of a step-by-step plan or an organizational workflow, it will greatly increase the odds that it will be easier for you, because this is going to be something we're going to show, and this is going to take about 7 weeks. But today you're going to really get the fundamentals of self-publishing and live streaming and how they work together. It's a new movement, folks. You're at the beginning of a new era altogether. That's to say that video and writing are starting to come together now more than ever. In fact, there's so many people across such platforms like YouTube, Twitch, and even on Facebook that they work together with this particular strategy I will be sharing with you today, where we're going to be talking about broadcasting your book. What you can expect in the coming weeks is the Self-Publish and Stream series is going to take you from A to Z. Think of it kind of like a short course, a crash course, and that of doing self-publishing and live streaming together. I want to get it to where we remove a little bit of the friction for you, whether you're a live streamer who's considering writing and publishing your own book, or you're an author who's on the fence about using live streaming for building out your author platform. Rest assured, you stick around for the next 7 weeks. It's going to be so worth your time. I promise you. If you want to stay tuned to this series, I would recommend you subscribe to any of the various outlets or wherever you're watching it from, or you can even go put it into your calendar. If you go to dalelinks.com/stream. Again, that's dalelinks.com/stream. That'll get you set up. And speaking of setting up, I'm going to hook you up with 7 days free of the pro plan on Restream. You can go pick it up right now. Go on over to dalelinks.com/restream. Get that. You will love it. Even if you got the free plan, I'm going to tell you it is awesome. It's amazing. And I will share why Restream is an integral part to all of this and how it all works together. So I did put together some slides and such. And keep in mind, if you're watching this live from wherever you're at, please let me know that you're hearing and seeing me okay inside the chat. Great to always see everybody join me. And I want to give a big shout out to the gang over at Restream. We're on their YouTube page and we're also inside their Facebook group. But rather than bloviating, I don't want you guys and gals to miss out on some really primo information. Okay, so let me go ahead. I've got a presentation put together, but I promise I'm not going to make it boring. I swear to you. So let's go ahead. We're going to turn this back on. There we go. Whoops. Yeah, sometimes I know what I'm doing. All righty. Give me just a moment here, folks. I'm just having to go around into the areas here, make sure I've got the screen share on. Come on, Dale, get with the program. Where are you at today? Okay, so we are going to share the screen. Come on now, Dale. For whatever reason, it's just not cooperating with me here. Come on. My apologies for keeping you guys waiting. Yeah, go figure. Everything works just fine, right? It's, there we go. How about that, Dale? Give me a round of applause, everybody. I've only streamed a good handful of times, maybe hundreds. So there you go. We're on live. So all right, let's get this right here set. Boom. All right, Let's jump right into the presentation here, folks. So let's talk about self-publishing and streaming. I want to let you know that this is all personal firsthand experience. So what you get to learn here is exactly what I did, because on June the 11th of 2020, I decided to put out a video, a live video that people were able to join me on. It was called Writing a Book in 24 Hours Challenge. It was a Write With Me live. Now, it might be foreign to you, but I promise you that if you can kind of understand this concept and understand there is a demand, then you will start to go, huh, now I see the opportunity. Because the fact of the matter is, all I really did was promote what I was going to do. I said, hey, I'm going to be writing a book over the next 24 hours. I might go for the next 24 hours, or I might go for 2 hours. I wasn't sure how long it would take me. Well, it took me about 11 hours. There's some techniques that I went ahead and did throughout this process that really made it more engaging for the live viewers. And that's what I want to kind of shed light on as we're going along. In this specific video, I outlined the content for my book ahead of time. I knew what I was going to write. And that actually ended up being this book right here. Now, I'm going to share just a bit more about this book. Let's put a pin in for this for right now, but I wrote the outline for this one. And during the live broadcast, I literally just used the camera, pointed it at me, and I also had a timer that was put on the screen. So that way I was doing sprints, and then I would take a break. More on that in a little bit. The premise was this: people could either write along with me in controlled bursts, or they could just kind of hang out and be a live accountability buddy. Now, you fast forward June 11th when we did this. All right. Now we go over to September 7th. It's when I actually launched Amazon Keywords for Books. Yeah, there was a few steps that I did in between that. And over the coming weeks, I'm going to tell you exactly what those steps were and how you could be able to leverage this. This launched on that date. It went on to sell 65 copies on launch day. That was just launch day. It continued to sell even more copies. It became a best-selling book across numerous categories, and not just some random small categories that, you know, you could sell one copy and be a bestseller in it. No, it wasn't like that. It was very competitive. And it also became a 5-time award-winning book. It was published in ebook, paperback, soon to be hardcover, and also I made it into an audiobook. So this shows you that the process that I was sharing on a live stream ended up really paying me in the long term. And here's the thing: this has landed me interviews. This has gotten me tons of opportunities. There's affiliate links within each one of these things. So if you're a live streamer who's wanting to make a little bit more income, this might be the opportunity. Now, conversely speaking, if you're an author that's kind of holding off on live streaming, and you're probably wondering, I don't know about live streaming, Dale. I'm going to share with you just that whole process. So just keeping it going forward here, what you need to do. So let's start it from scratch here. You need to get an inside peek and a sense of direct involvement when you're doing something like this. Viewers found out how I wrote an entire book live. They came on in there and they got to watch the entire thing. Me just kind of grinding out and just doing the best I had with what I had. And in turn, it was actually broadcast, of all places, over to YouTube. Now, looking back on it, hindsight's always 2020. Sure, I've got a pretty good, substantial subscriber base on YouTube, but what about the other avenues like Facebook or Twitter, or even Twitch for that matter? And so I created a spectacle. What I did was I said pretty much, hey, I'm going to write a book in 24 hours. So people were coming with popcorn in hand, wanting to watch the spectacle. Some knew what was going on and said, you know what, I'm a writer and I really need to kind of work along, so I'm going to go ahead and do this. As long as you set expectations in advance with your viewers, letting them know exactly what you're going to be doing for how long and how they can participate, and keeping them participating, then all the better. You don't want to just show up on a live stream, no marketing or promotion put behind it, and just pretty much broadcasting nobody. Although it is a start, everybody starts with a goose egg. But you want to make sure that you're bringing in more people. Set the expectations. I included my audience somewhat. There's good reason. You don't want to go and have people write your book for you. Otherwise, you might as well just take the day off. Don't do any live streaming and just have a ghostwriter do it for you. But for this particular instance, we're writing our own stuff. So how do we keep them involved? I could have better involved all of my community across other platforms by using the Restream software back then. Can you imagine the results I would have had on launch day had people known over on Facebook, had people known over on, well, Periscope when it was still around, and I think you could still stream over to Twitter nonetheless, over on Twitch, over on various avenues like LinkedIn. By the way, shout out to the LinkedIn crew over there watching right now. So doing that, super simple. You can even get a free plan on Restream, 7-day free trial pro. I've already said it already before. I'm not going to beat you guys up. DaleLinks.com/Restream. So how did I entice those viewers to join? Because you think about saying, well, I'm just going to write. You're going to come along and stare at me. Okay, yeah, not a lot of people are going to probably be digging that. Like, oh, I get to stare at your big head. Why don't I just go ahead and watch it somewhere else where you're doing something a bit more active? Keeping in mind, when I broadcast originally, it was just my head and a timer. There is another method that I actually ended up using later on for the other publications I put out, where I did a screen share of me actually writing the process. But nonetheless, how did I get those viewers over? So you promote the heck out of it. You got to market it through social media, every avenue that you can. If you're going to be on Facebook, let people know. Create an event like I did for today's video here. Create an event, have people coming to that. Promote it through an email newsletter of some sort. If you've got a YouTube channel, maybe shoot a 30-second short and promote it that way. Word of mouth is fantastic, but I wouldn't rely on it if you've got a smaller following. The next thing is to search engine optimize what you're doing. So as you're going live, think about what your ideal viewer would be looking for. So as I mentioned, there's kind of two sets of people. You notice I said that. Two sets of people. Knowing those two sets of people, and you've heard me say it already, but I'm going to cover it just a little more in depth. Serving those two sets of people, what exactly would they be doing to find your broadcast? Let's say you don't have any followers whatsoever, and you're a live streamer who does cooking. You'll want to make sure that you name your title something related to a pain point of a person who's looking for that live stream. You're writing about cooking? Great. Writing a cookbook in the next 2 hours, ride-alongs, something like that. It doesn't need to be sexy. Just think of the best way that viewers can find your content and consume it, not just while you're going live, but also on subsequent replays. So let's talk about what's in it for the viewers. They found your broadcast. Now they're just going to stare at you? Well, of course not. They get early access and insights to the content that you're going to be producing. So that right there is kind of fun. Some people get a behind the scenes look at how you are going to be putting together your book. Now, how did I do the subsequent live streams? As I mentioned before, I was doing a headshot of some sort on the very first one with a timer. I found it worked so much better when I was writing my document. I had Microsoft Word opened, and then I just simply hit screen share, kind of like what we're doing right now. So you see how I kind of move that? I'm just dragging and dropping this within Restream Studio. Boom, boom. So when I'm talking to the people in between my breaks, I can have it like this. And then when I want to go to just showing the typing, I do it like this. And I could easily just mute my microphone so that way people don't hear me pecking away and working on my document and slamming on the keys, that type of thing. So that part really got more engagement, I noticed, than just the talking head stare at me while a timer's kind of going. So there's the two people I was just discussing before, and you probably already picked it out. There's going to be the people who want to participate. They want to write along with you. And then there's also the people that just simply like to watch. I knew some people that actually were watching me watch the writing keystroke for keystroke and every last little bit. And they're following along. Eventually, some of them became backseat editors. So what I would say every now and then would be, hey, got any kind of recommendations, say so inside the chat. But if you don't like to have backseat editors, you might want to just simply say, hey, I'm not editing right now, but feel free to go ahead and drop any comments in there. Don't think that I'm ignoring you, but I want to focus on writing first. And that's going to be something you're going to want to make sure you're focusing on wholeheartedly when you're writing. Yes, having that live chat's there, but don't get it to where it's distracting you too much. Otherwise, people are just kind of coming to watch you do nothing. And you want to make sure you're staying very, very active. And backseat editors aren't all that bad. It's a good thing to kind of get some type of feedback early on. Okay, so there's two ways that people can participate. You got the active participation. So someone is writing along and maybe they're even conversing inside the chat that you have based on whatever platform, could be YouTube, Facebook, things like that. Encourage that. Don't stop people from doing it. And maybe as you're going along, have people share their victories. How many sentences did they write? How many pages did they do? What did they get accomplished during that time? And then there's going to be some passive participants. You'll want to try to get everybody to participate in some capacity. And one of the best ways to do it is ask more about that live audience. And by getting the audience that's watching you to participate, it's going to send little triggers to other algorithm that supports that given platform, be it YouTube, Facebook, so on and so forth. It's going to tickle that algorithm and get it to where you get more viewers coming in and participating and getting to see the spectacle and learning about your process of writing a book. So the biggest thing that you're probably asking right now is, what's in it for you? What's in it for you? The very thing that you can already think about is, first of all, A, if you haven't written a book before and published one, this is a great time. B, if you have done something like this before, it's going to open you up to a world of awesome things I've already kind of shared anyways, no sense in me being redundant. One big area here, something I haven't discussed, is live copyright. Now, a copyright is when you own the rights to a given work. And typically a copyright happens when you do your first keystroke or you turn on your video and start recording and broadcasting. That copyright happens instantaneously as you're writing. Think of it kind of like a poor man's copyright. You got proof through a digital timestamp based on the software that you use. Maybe it's Microsoft Word or Mac Pages or even Google Docs. Doesn't matter. You've got that timestamp, but that may not be good enough in worst case scenarios. Well, the nice thing is now you've got a video with that exact proof. Would it hold up in court? Well, I'm no lawyer. I don't know. I can't tell you if that would hold up in court. So let me just briefly explain general copyright. Already, I discussed the fact as soon as you create the work or start creating the work, a copyright is set on that. But then there's copyright registration. This is where it makes it 100% legal. Now, based on your area of the world, whether you're in the US, it's copyright.gov, or you're overseas somewhere else, you'll need to find out where you need to register your copyright. And typically it runs like $55, $65. And it gets it to where it makes it official. It gets it to where you have the legal right. It's not required for you to have that. Even over on copyright.gov, they say you don't need to have the copyright, but it is needed in rare instances of litigation. So should you find someone who is pirating your book, or someone comes along and tries to say you pirated their book, then you've got the legal paperwork to prove that, yes, this is in fact mine. And that's what courts want if for some reason that happens. So all that to say this, you get yourself registered. That might cost a little bit. But let's say that you don't have it. At least you have the live video proof of you working on the manuscript that you did. This builds awareness also, and it also builds hype for your upcoming release because people got to see the foundation that you laid out over on live video. Now they're a little more invested than, say, if you were to put out a tweet saying, I'm going to write a book and it will be published later this year. Great, let me know how that goes. You could say, I'm getting to write a book and publish it. You get to see the first keystroke. Come join me. A lot of really cool things to consider here. Let's keep moving forward because now you need to know how to write and live stream. The whole process. This is what we're talking about today. Now, what I did was I created the time productivity sprints. Well, I shouldn't say I created. I used the time productivity process here. And when I say this is, if you've ever heard of the process, it's called the Pomodoro technique. And it's actually meant for cooking. It's typically a sauce of some sort. But in this particular instance, it's a way to get it to where you're being productive in your time. And how it works is you go 25 minutes of intense focused work. Nothing distracts you. 5 minutes, you take off, you relax. This is the part where you re-engage your live audience. That 5 minutes, you need to be jib-jabbing, asking questions from people. What are you working on? What do you think about what I've been writing so far? What is your favorite book? What's your favorite color? Doesn't matter. Get them engaged in that 5 minutes. You're going to do about 4 rounds of that. Now, that's about 2 hours of work. If you want to keep going, you would take a 15-minute break in between the next set of rounds, which would be 4 rounds of 25 minutes on, 5 minutes off. It's super simple to find any number of timers. Honestly, it doesn't sound sexy when I'm going to tell you. Google it up. It's just that simple. But I will tell you the timers that I typically use was actually at pomofocus.io. That's POMOFOCUS.io. Pomofocus.io. All you got to do is just search up Pomodoro timer, and that will help keep you on track. If you got a timer on your phone, you can also use something like that. Either way, whatever you decide, even if you don't want to use Pomodoro, there's different timers that you can use. The timers help keep things on track. I've seen a few times people fail miserably when they're doing some of this specific ride-along technique that essentially they start to bloviate and they're talking and talking and talking, yet doing no work. The timer keeps things on track, and then people know you mean business, and as well the people that are passively participating, that are just watching it, are going to be like, oh my gosh, yeah, 5 minutes off. Okay, I can come back and I can continue to read for the next 25 minutes as Dale's putting out his book. So it's things to kind of think of. Now, here's how to share the actual process. So again, the first time that I did it, I did the headshot. It's just a video like this where I'm doing on Restream. And then there was a screen capture, kind of like down here, where it would show the picture of the timer. That one worked really well. But the part that I found that worked the best was when people got to look over my shoulder. So it would just be a simple thing of screen capturing, not a timer, but probably the Microsoft Word document or the Pages document or whatever you're writing on. You would end up putting it into a large screen when you go to do your sprints. Dead simple, right? And it's a simple thing of dragging and dropping, by the way. I love how simple that is. Use whatever program you wish to write in. It does not matter. At the end of the day, whatever gets you to writing makes the most sense. There's some people, they ask me, should I use Microsoft Word, Pages, Google Docs, InDesign? You name it. Everybody's asked that. Whatever you're most comfortable in writing, go with that. Now, I understand there's going to be some of you out there that are very leery and don't like people looking over your shoulder. So that's why I gave you 2 different options you can kind of play with. So the thing that you also want to think about is going to be when you're done with your broadcast. I've got a good one. And I'm sorry, I'm kind of riffing here right now. If you find yourself at a loss and you're not a good typist of some sort, it's probably going to be a good idea. And if you're a good talker, get on camera and maybe that's how you produce the content. Let's say that you're dyslexic and you're not able to type really well and you have a lot of typos and you're not able to go back and make sense of it. Do what a good friend of mine did, Adam Wilbur. Adam actually wrote his entire, well, I'm going to wrote in quotations. He wrote his entire book in his car as he was driving, and he would just voice dictate that stuff. The good thing is you can just go ahead and broadcast through Restream, download the MP4 file, or order a service like Rev to get the transcriptions for you, and you can actually take that and edit that document down into a better book. All right, I'm glad I covered that one. It wasn't in my notes. I just had to veer off the beaten path. All right. What comes next? What happens after the live broadcast? Keep the video up because that video is going to play a huge role in you marketing and promoting later on, and it's going to work passively because after it is live, let's say you finally go to publish the book, go over to that video again, go into the description, put a link over to that specific book so people can go ahead and order that. Continue to market and promote that replay. One of the things I found that helped out really big time was editing down the content. So I had it on YouTube. And what I did is I went into editor and then I trimmed off all of the talking at the very beginning. So that way, when people started the video, it went right into the sprints. Why did I do that? Well, I did it purposely so that people could come back and continue to use that as a timer. And they would just type along and follow along. Here's the crazy thing. This gives viewers the reason to come back for a ride along. If they already did it and they enjoyed themselves the last time, it's proof that 2,200 views on the original video. By the way, 2,200 views since last year, June 11th. Not bad. 30 concurrent viewers. So you can see there's a lot more passive traffic that came in and consumed the content and continue to come back and watch that. So there's so much stuff that you can do about this. I don't want to overwhelm everybody with this. I wanted to kind of give some good broad paint strokes on this that we're going to be covering over the next 7 weeks, every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Daytime. If you want to get involved with each of these steps, make sure that you go over to dalelinks.com/stream. And it will actually get you the calendar link and all of those things that you need to be notified so you don't miss a single one of these things. Now, I've got a little bit of a bonus. It's an extra suggestion. I told you that you could go through and edit down and have people replay, and that's great. Let's just say, for instance, you go to publish the book, take the video down, but you're going to leave it unlisted. So anytime someone goes and buys your book, maybe you have get the insights and secrets to how this book was published when you visit xyz.com, wherever that video might be set up at, and put it as an unlisted or private link for your readers. And it's just that extra bonus and something that gets them to where they're a bit more invested. It's going to build a little bit more of the know, like, and trust factor in you. So how did I do all of the other things? There was a lot of stuff. I wrote a bunch of stuff on live stream and I shared all this stuff with you, but like, okay, what do I do? How do I get it all edited down? Do I market it a certain way? Is there a way I need to be bringing people in there? And I know those are a lot of great questions. You do have to stay tuned for the rest of the 7-part series every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Daytime. By the way, get yourself a 7-day free trial of the Pro Plan Restream. That's the one that I personally use and I love because I can reach out to all different avenues. I've been using Restream for, gosh, the past few years now. So big thanks out to that gang there. dalelinks.com/Restream. Get your 7 days free trial of Pro. You will thank me. Now let's go ahead. I know I've been ignoring some of you guys and gals as time went on, but it was for good reason. I want to make sure we get through the broadcast. I'm going to open up the floor for the next 15 minutes to answer any kind of questions or comments. I see Thomas A. Bradley joining us over on YouTube. George over on Facebook. Thank you so much for joining. Mojo C. Lack. Great to see you. SL Michaels. Thomas A. Bradley, I told you I infected you. No, I don't use Restream Studio too often, but to work with this whole thing, I wanted to make sure I was sharing it as an example. I will most times use OBS, but the problem is with OBS, Thomas, is it's got a steep learning curve. With Restream, you can just open up the dashboard and it's fairly intuitive. Drag and drop type system. Again, you saw how I did this, just that easy. And I mean, I can even bust up a different graphics here. So you've got this. I can even shut this off right here, and then it's all set. So this is one of the reasons why I wanted to kind of share how simple it is for you. And we're going to be covering more of that as the weeks go on. So Tony Jacobson, great to see you. I see some applause. Everybody's laughing probably as I kind of botched my way through getting things going. Sean Colin, great to see you there. Ex-Nemesis. Hey, Dale and everyone. Nick Lang, great to see you. And by the way, this is aggregating out across Facebook, 2 YouTube channels, and LinkedIn Live. So let me know where you're watching from. Definitely would love to know any questions you might have. Wib Media says, I would know why the $19 paid version, we cannot get it off. I will cancel -1. I need more context there, buddy. Carl Newport, Focus, Pure, I'm not really sure what that says, is a sexy book about it. Okay. Let me go ahead. I'm going to switch over and let's highlight a couple of these comments here. Yes, so here's someone who actually followed along with me, Rusty Knox. Actually, Rusty was working his day job. This is a great example of involving your community and such, and people that are supporting you. Rusty came with me on a number of these live writing sprints. I believe he was kind of working his day job, and in between times, he would sit down and write a lot of his stuff on his phone. So that was kind of cool that he was able to kind of contribute in that capacity and was able to crank out some work. So that was really cool. Another great example of involving your community. I see Sybil says, wow, so much to take in. Hope to find recommendations on video equipment and apps. So I can cover that one really easy here. Actually, I've got another channel called Live Streaming Tech on YouTube where we talk about things like this, and Restream's an integral part to our message. We've been using them for a long time, even prior to us talking with the company and such. So when it comes to video equipment and apps, less is more. Just start. That's going to be the most important thing. So you noticed as I was sharing about writing the content, I said it doesn't matter where you wrote the content at, just as long as you're writing the content. The same thing holds true when it comes to video and especially live streaming. So you don't need to get a fancy camera. I have a Sony a6400, but keep in mind that I also have a YouTube channel with over 57,000 subscribers. I've been doing it for over 5 years. I've been able to kind of take some of the earnings that I got from live streaming and doing YouTube and been able to reinvest in it. So if you're starting from scratch, one of the things I would say just very simply is if you've got a laptop with a camera put in it, it's not the greatest quality, it works. If for some reason the best that you could do is maybe you find like a Logitech camera over at a Goodwill, pick it up. Might be a little older, maybe the quality is not the best, but it gets you at least started. As far as your microphone goes, that would probably be the first investment I would really highly recommend that you look into getting, because people don't mind if they can't see you well. It's when they can't hear you well that they start to get a little bit iffy. They probably start to tune out. So start out with what you have again, but something that would be bargain basement, something very simple would be a USB mic. You can look them up over on Amazon. Yeti has the Snowball, I believe, and there's quite a few people that use that, and it's actually pretty good. So as far as apps goes, honestly, If you're looking to do the live streaming, just go with Restream. Don't overthink this on this one. Restream's super simple, and you can literally use the free plan if you wanted to, and you didn't feel like upgrading. But I'm gonna tell you, the upgrade is so much better because you can reach out to more platforms, and it also unlocks so many more privileges that you can be able to use in stream. So definitely worth it. Yes, Sybil, thank you so much for asking the question. Fantastic. I see someone's promoting their book. Sorry. Yes. Mailman speaking as I delivered. Oh, I gotcha. Gotcha. I know that Rusty used to spend a lot of time working and such. That's me. Okay, so here's a great example, Thomas. That's me, Logitech, but not from Goodwill, brand new. Oh my gosh. You're sitting on a brand new Logitech camera. Those Logitech camera actually Logitech puts out some really good products, even the older ones. If there was a recommendation, I think I'm coming back to you, Sybil. Logitech C920 typically runs about $50. It kicked up a little bit during the pandemic for like 60 to 70 bucks, but it's certainly worth it. Certainly worth it. Is there a time limit on the 7-day free trial? Like, have to get in the next 24 hours? No, it should be open. It should be open unless they remove the deal from me. But the 7-day free trial, you should be able to go use dalelinks.com/restream, give it a shot. Oh, not to promote, but okay. So I had somebody who was sharing their book. I'll have to look at that some other time there, buddy. Yeah, it's just a little one you've been using. Yeah, and Thomas actually is a great example that, you know, whatever you have, it works. Like, don't overthink this. It is a very, very simple process. If you've ever been trying to think of the best way, if you've ever done a video chat with somebody else, any video chat platform, okay, Restream's just that simple. Going into the live studio. If I wanted to, I can probably drop a link over to my buddy Thomas and have him come join this live, although I'm not putting Thomas on the spot. But it's a good way to kind of go about it, though. Phone camera. Okay, so Rusty brings up a good question here. Would phone camera work? The biggest issue you're going to run into if you were to use phone camera is you're going to need to probably figure out a way to tether your camera to your computer. Now, if you were to try to do what I was sharing with you, writing and mobile streaming at the same time, I just don't know if it's possible. It might be possible, but it might have a lot of lag and a lot of drop frames, because as soon as you open up another program while you're trying to stream from your phone, that's going to eat into the bandwidth that otherwise is being used here through the Wi-Fi. So if you can use the phone camera. A good friend of mine, Ryan Raymond, used to actually use nothing but iPhones because he had a lot of them apparently, and he would plug it in to his computer and use that, and he would have to tether it. You have to Google up how to tether your mobile phone camera to your laptop or your desktop of some sort to probably get a better idea. But yeah, that's definitely a good idea. And considering that most iPhones these days, if you have an iPhone, have these 4K 30 frames per second resolution, which is just absolutely stunning. It's really, really good. All you would ever need is 720p or 1080p, because when some people are watching you write, it's not like they need to see every finite detail. So long as they can still read the text, you're probably going to be fine. And as long as they can still see the whites of your eyes and you've got plenty of lighting, then great. Remember, again, audio quality should be the very first thing you should upgrade at all times. So make sure that you're getting good audio quality when you go to stream. So Wayne says, I just use my iPhone. So there's a great example. Sorry, not for just for recording content. Yeah. And you know, and bear in mind that a lot of the you know, with live streaming here on Restream, you can literally upload video content and actually have it broadcast live. So if you've ever been on YouTube, there's something that's called Premieres, and Premieres has like a 2-minute countdown window, and it makes a big event, and then people chat live, and that actually really helps with putting engagement on that video and driving just a little bit more juice over towards the algorithm and tripping it to where you got more viewers coming in and wanting to watch what you're doing. So maybe another way to do that is, maybe Wayne, you have your video and you want to premiere it. You can probably premiere that across all the platforms. It's really good. Really good point. So I'm glad that you brought that up. Okay, folks, I'm going to start to wrap up today's broadcast of Self-Publish and Stream. Remember, this is the first part of a 7-part series. If you would like to get notifications about the future episodes, which let me get you a little bit of a sneak peek, and I'll tell you what we will be covering in the coming weeks here. Next week, we're going to be talking about don't self-publish a book unless you do this. And we're actually going to be talking about that process before you even hit the publish button. That is going to be the biggest thing. And you're still going to be able to invite your tribe to the process. In some instances, you might be inviting to some people to see the crazy spectacle of, fixing what you've done. But nonetheless, it's a lot of fun. But that will be next week. Don't self-publish and stream a book unless you do this. That will be up this next week. You can get more details if you visit dalelinks.com/stream to get notifications. Not to be confused with the affiliate link of dalelinks.com/restream to get your 7-day free pro trial. All right, folks, thank you so much for tuning in from wherever you are tuning in from. I'm going to take one more peek because I see there's a lot of you watching across every single platform, and I appreciate it. It looks like that's it. Oops, too late. I gotcha for sure. All right, folks. Thank you so much. Tune in next week, same time, same channel. I'll see you then.